Hey y'all, Savannah Bell here with My Massage World, and this week's video is going to be a little bit different. I've got a sneak peek at my newest released business class, Know Your Numbers. This is part of the first section of that class where I talk about 5 core concepts of knowing your numbers. Later in the class, we get into all the specifics of what metrics to track, how to calculate them, what those numbers mean you should do in your business, all that fun stuff. But let's start with these core concepts. So without further ado, here is your peek at the Know Your Numbers class. It's time to set some groundwork. So first, it's all about learning the basics of bookkeeping and accounting and setting up your banking. Now don't worry, I'm not going to inundate you with a bunch of nonsense that doesn't apply because there's all kinds of bookkeeping and especially accounting stuff that doesn't really work for a small service-based business like yours. So we're only focusing on the essentials. If you grow this business to be some huge thing, then this type of knowledge will obviously need to grow as well. But for where you're at and what you're doing now and in the near future, these are the essentials. So let's get to it. First, bookkeeping and accounting. What are they? How are they different? Do you need to hire someone to do those things? Let's discuss. So a bookkeeper is responsible for recording the financial data of your business. They're keeping track of every cent that comes in and every cent that goes out correctly. They're categorizing and organizing that data. An accountant, on the other hand, is generally responsible for producing financial statements and tax returns that comply with the law. So for example, you may hire a bookkeeper who once a quarter logs all your sales and expenses into a spreadsheet, and then once a year, your accountant will take the data from those spreadsheets and then transform it into a profit and loss statement and file your tax return based on all of that. Make sense? Now, do you need to hire a bookkeeper or an accountant? Maybe. It really depends on what you want to take care of yourself, what you want to hand over, and how much money you want to spend. I have personally always handled all my own bookkeeping and accounting. I run all my own statements and file my own taxes, but that's me. I know what I'm doing, I don't mind this stuff, and I prefer to maintain control over it. That's just me. A lot of people aren't willing to do that. A lot of people aren't confident enough in their own skills to do it. A lot of people are intimidated and overwhelmed by the whole concept. And a lot of people just don't want to take the time. So this really is a personal decision. I don't think there's a right or wrong here. Just be prepared for the learning curve that comes with anything that you DIY. But here's the thing, even if you hire a bookkeeper, an accountant, or both, you should still understand the basics of both because you still need to know what to get them so that they can do their jobs. And those people just work up the data and such. It's up to you to take the data and make decisions based off of it, which means you need to readily understand the data. And the data they're working up is just the financial side. There's a whole nother side to your numbers that you need to understand, which we will get to in just a little bit. For now, let's look at a few concepts that I want you to understand concerning bookkeeping and accounting. So whether you choose to do this yourself or hire it out, you're well aware what's going on and how things should generally be done for this type of business because it does differ from a much more complex setup required for other types of businesses. We're keeping things simple here. So let's look at 5 core concepts that you'll want to keep in mind. Number 1, economic entity. This means your business is its own financial entity. Your business and personal finances should never intermingle. You have your personal bank accounts and your business bank accounts. You're not just swapping money back and forth all willy-nilly and spending out of both of them. Using a business account to pay for personal purchases or your personal account to pay for your business purchases. No. That is a recipe for disaster in trying to not just keep track of the financials, but when you have to prove what you make in order to get a loan or something like that, or if heaven forbid you're ever audited, it's just not good. In fact, as an LLC or corporation, that can actually spell big legal trouble depending on the situation. And if you've been doing it that way, that's what's been your habit so far. All right, let's just start doing better as soon as possible and keep it that way. We'll discuss setting up your banking in the next video. For right now, just get it in your head that you and the business are 2 separate entities financially, and nothing needs to intermingle. Number 2, tracking. Every cent that comes into your business in sales and every cent that leaves your business to pay for anything used for your business. Every bit of it needs to be tracked. Whether you spend $1,000 on a new massage table or have a $3 charge for iCloud storage for your digital work files. Everything should be tracked in your books. The financial records of your business, that's what those are. Some people want to try to skimp on this, like some of those small purchases don't matter, so what's the point? Or the client paid cash, so do you really have to record it? Yes. Yes, you do. And this isn't just because the IRS says so, because I know we would all like to pay a little less in taxes each year, but in reality, first, those small charges do add up. Over a year, if you're spending $5 a week on little incidentals, that's $260 a year. Would you want to log and potentially write off a $260 purchase? Yeah. So do all that with the small stuff too, because it does add up. And on claiming every cent you make, here's the thing. Being self-employed can make some loans and financing harder to get personally. If you're not claiming everything you're making, then you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because your income on paper is going to look like a lot less than it actually is, meaning banks think you can't afford this or that when maybe in reality you can. You just didn't claim all your income. So just track everything. There are plenty of write-offs, and a good accountant or a lot of learning can ensure that you're paying as little in taxes as legally possible. Trying to hide your income isn't the answer, because it very well may hurt you in the long run. This also means keeping up with all your receipts. Whether digital or printed, have a place to keep all your receipts for easy access. Either do hand over to a bookkeeper for you to look at and log if you're doing your own books, or if, heaven forbid, you get audited, you'll have record of those transactions to back up the numbers in your books. Number 3, cash basis accounting. This doesn't mean you only accept cash. This is an accounting and bookkeeping term that means you're recording transactions as they happen. You see, there's something called accrual accounting, and that's for businesses that send out invoices or otherwise are paid at a different time than when a product or a service is provided. So now that may still happen in your business, but is far less likely. If it is, however, that's something I would highly recommend having a good bookkeeper who can help you sort that out, so you can be sure that the right transactions are being recorded in the right time frame based on that accrual method. For most of you, though, the easiest and most straightforward way to keep your books is cash basis accounting. So the client comes in and pays for a service, product, gift card, whatever. They're provided with that thing and pay you right there. That sale is logged in your books and dated for the day it happened. Same for any expenses. You log those and date them for the day they happen. I'm not saying you have to log everything the day it occurs. You can do your bookkeeping once a week or once a month or whatever works for you. You just log the dates for everything as the day they happened. Number 4, consistency. For those of you who are DIYing the bookkeeping, the idea of it is overwhelming for a lot of people, especially if you're talking about, going back and plugging in numbers from months past that you put off. I get that. That is why consistency is so, so important. Whether you choose to catch up your books and track all those sales and expenses daily as they happen, at the end of each week, the first of the month for the previous month's transactions, that's all personal preference. Whatever it is, it needs to be consistent. The problem I see is that a lot of therapists just keep putting it off, and then it's this big, overwhelming project. If you can keep with devoting maybe 15, 20 minutes a week to logging in those sales and expenses, for many of you, it may be a lot less than that, it keeps it from piling up and becoming an all-day catch-up project. If you're already there, don't worry. We're going to tackle that later in a way that's manageable. But I want you to get your head around the idea that this should be a regular part of your schedule, a regular admin task that you do just like any other, reminder calls, social media posting, cleaning, laundry, whatever it may be. This is just another part of running a business that needs that regular care. Would you allow the dust and grime in your treatment room to build up for months on end, or do you regularly clean? Clean up your books for yourself, just like you clean up your room for clients. You will thank yourself. And lastly, point number 5, personal preference. The way you keep your books is really personal preference. So whether you like using pen and paper, a spreadsheet, an online software, whatever, that part doesn't matter. In fact, if you're DIYing the bookkeeping, you need to pick what you like so you'll actually do it. So choose something you prefer and will make your life easier. If it's an online program that syncs with your credit card processor and you can run all your sales through there and it syncs with your bank account so you don't have to manually enter anything, great. Let it do that for you so you can just enter your expenses and be done. If pen and paper helps things stick in your brain, then do that. If a spreadsheet gives you the structure that you need to see it laid out a certain way, do that. The place you keep this data is not nearly as important as that you keep the data. All right, so while bookkeeping and accounting can be rather complex, we're not going there because, again, we're talking manageable, but more importantly, applicable concepts here. These are the simple concepts you need to take going forward. Next, we're on to setting up your banking because remember, your business. All right, y'all, if you liked that and you want to dig deeper into how to know your numbers, get a spreadsheet that I built just for this class that allows you to calculate your numbers super fast, see those metrics laid out in an easy to understand way, and gives you tips on what to do about them, then you'll definitely want to sign up for this class. It's all pre-recorded and you can take it at your own pace. I've got that linked below. And if you need any other help learning about organizing and marketing your business, then go check out my website over at mymassageworld.com. Follow me on all your favorite social media platforms and join the My Massage World Facebook group where I'm available for more individual help and I post all kinds of business tips. Thanks for watching. See you next time.